Hey, in this video, just going to introduce you to the tools that I use when editing Neto files, Neto themes, and any sort of templates in Neto. The first tool is a code editor tool, and I've used a lot of code editors over the years. And I've only just recently started using this one, which is Visual Studio Code. I think I've been using it for about 6 months now, and I migrated away from another code editor that I was using. I found Visual Studio Code to be, really good, and there is also a plugin for VS Code that will highlight Neto base code as well. So I'll just give you a bit of a look at how that looks like. But to download it, I will place links to these tools in the description somewhere below this video or to the side of it or wherever. So you can just go there, or you can just Google for the tool and you'll probably find the pages. So first of all, Visual Studio Code, it's free, and you should land on a page something like this maybe, unless they change it. It is available for Windows and Mac, so that's really cool if you're a Windows user or a Mac user. When I do demo and tutorial videos, I'll be using this, so you'll be able to follow along quite easily, whether you're on a Windows machine or a Mac machine. You can come straight here. I think it defaults to download for Windows. It might change it when you're on a Mac, but then you can just click the down and choose macOS if you're on Mac, or just leave it on Windows. The other thing with Visual Studio Code, I'll show you what it looks like. So this is Visual Studio Code. I've just got, this is one thing I'll just talk about in a sec. But you can see here's some code or a template out of Neto, and you can see the Neto functions like cache and load Ajax template. It respects those, so it actually highlights them and color codes them, so it's really easy to kind of read the code. Now I think I can do, so like if I was to turn off the auto detection, you'll see the code goes not like the coloring goes out. Let me just change it back to HTML. So even with HTML turned on, you'll see the Neto functions there aren't highlighted, and it's a little bit harder to read. But then if I turn it back on base, you can see all of the Neto base code is color coded, so it's really cool. And that color coding in Visual Studio Code is done by a little plugin that was developed by a Neto developer called Matt Downs. And if you're in your browser, I will create a link to this as well. But if you search for Visual Studio Neto base or something like that, you'll probably come to this page, and then it's just a matter of clicking install and installing the plugin, and it'll install into your Visual Studio Code, and then you can see whether or not it's enabled. I'll just close it down. By down the bottom right hand corner, it should say base with this @ symbol here, and that'll show that it's enabled. You can turn it off by just clicking on that and selecting HTML or something like that. But that's really handy, especially when you're developing or making changes. It's really easy to view. The next tool that I use is WinSCP. And so this is just for Windows machines if you're on a Windows machine, and this piece of software lets you actually access the Neto file system. You can see, there we go. Here are all the files here. So this is what actually lets you access the Neto file system to edit the files. So I can click on this template here. I'll go into there and right click on the file and go edit and encode. I've created a mapping to Visual Studio Code in this software, WinSCP. If you want to do this and you're on a Windows machine, it's just a matter of clicking edit, going edit with, and then browsing for the Visual Studio Code executable, and creating a mapping for yourself. And then once you've got the mapping, you can just right click on an image and go code, and then it'll bring the code in. And then when you save it in there, then it's actually going to save it live. One of the things other things I really like about WinSCP is you can make backups of your theme files really quickly. It's just a matter of picking your theme that you want to back up, right clicking on it, and then clicking duplicate, and then you just tick duplicate via local temporary copy, and then name the directory something, and then click OK. And then it will download the directory and then back it up very, very quickly, which is what I really like about this particular tool. To use a tool like this, WinSCP, you need to request your secure SFTP. Oh, that's a mouthful. Your credentials to log into your Neto store. And so you do that by jumping into netohq.com and then just searching for SFTP, and you'll find a page like this requesting file transfer protocol access. And then you basically just have to request the access to get your credentials. You'll get a username and password, and then you can use that username and password in your software. So this page here just basically gives you the instructions on how to actually connect. The other tool that Neto recommends, and they probably recommend it because it's available for both Mac and Windows, is a tool called FileZilla. And you can get that just by searching for FileZilla. Again, I'll put the link to this in the description, so you can get to it straight there. Now, this page doesn't actually have a form that you fill out, but if you just contact the Neto support team, like just email support at Neto, and ask for SFTP access. Oh, there it is there. You need to first request SFTP, and that's the form there. So I'll put a link to this page, and so this will be helpful for you as well in the description. So one of the other things I just want to mention, if you're on a Mac and you're using FileZilla, the backup process is a little bit different for FileZilla. You've actually got to do the copy yourself. So you've got to find your theme that you want to back up, and then you've got to drag it down to your local machine, rename the folder, and then drag it back to make the backup of your theme. And we always recommend, before making any editing changes on your Neto, always back up the file. So either back up the whole theme file or back up the individual file that you're editing. It's always a really good thing to do. Well recommended. So hope that's helpful. There's those couple of tools, and get into editing your file and growing business. See ya.